All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome. We have a very special live AMA, again, not part of our usual schedule, but we're highlighting the brand new Spark Vaults. So we're excited to finally release these. Again, if you're joining us on YouTube, we're going to do a screen share with the man himself. This technology is brought to you by Dex CEO and Dex Finance. Jake, Jake, how are you today, brother?
Hey man, doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me on. It's been a busy
Awesome.
day.
Yeah, brother, we've been busy behind the scenes. Launch day is always stressful, but everything has gone off without a hitch. We're gonna jump over and do a screen share. We're gonna give a high level breakdown of, what the vaults are, how they work, how to get involved, and then if anybody has questions, please type them in the YouTube chat. And LA or one of our team members will read those at the very end. We have all hands on deck today. And this should be a great tutorial for all of you, if you want to watch it back as well. So, all right, let me get the screen share up. Give me 1 minute, Jake.
Sure.
All right, hopefully everybody can see. Again, give me a thumbs up on YouTube if you can hear us and you can see us. And here we go. So, all right, Jake. Again, man, we'll walk through it together. Obviously, you're doing the screen share, but I guess let's just start at how this is going to be super bullish for not only Spark but Pulse as a whole. These vaults are not only compatible with Sparkswap LP, but they're also compatible with PulseX LP. And we'll talk about all that when we get over to the vaults. But as far as Sparkswap, I mean, this is a massive amount of volume that we're running. Jake, do you want to comment on that really quick about why it creates more volume for us and why it's bullish for Spark?
Yeah, of course, that's a great place to start. Outside of the fact that just running, as a user, right, running these farms and being in multiple pools and having to manage your positions and make all these clicks to compound your rewards and all that, um, you know, that's just time consuming and takes a lot of effort, right? And not very um, just not feasible for someone to maintain that and keep up with it, right? It's also actually really not economical, or it's not efficient, I guess let's say. So from a
For
user
sure.
perspective, it's just a great tool, right? But typical vaults often get like a bad rap, and sometimes rightfully so. A lot of times you'll see like a new project with not a lot of liquidity, and then they get into a vault system, and with a typical vault, it's basically just constantly selling the rewards and dumping them back into the LP, right? Which creates a ton of sell pressure, right? The really unique couple, well, a couple really unique things about this vault system, that actually really benefits the Spark ecosystem, is one, uh, it allows for profit taking, automated profit taking, right? And this is good for a couple of reasons. One is it's usually encouraged to take profit, right? Like no one can't just hold, you can't just hold the LPs forever, right? But what happens in a lot of such situations is like, people try to compound to death, and then all of a sudden, maybe a whale exits or there's some kind of FUD, misappropriated. And what happens is it just creates this waterfall effect because everyone's been just kind of stockpiling these tokens, right? Then once you guys have all seen it. Once somebody sells, the waterfall takes effect, and then it just drops out, right? With the automated profit taking, it actually encourages investors to take profit responsibly, in ways that don't necessarily hurt the protocol. Everyone's here to make money, and that's a good thing, right? So to start with, we found that, just in user investor behavior, if you're in a vault, right, that's doing all the work for you, and you can chart your progress and see your performance metrics, and you may have already been 50%, in profit, or to make your ROA. Investors are much less likely to sell at that point, even if there is some downturn price.
For
And
sure.
then on And then on top of that, the profit they're actually taking in this case is a mixture of these ETFs, which again, multi-purpose. One, it relieves a lot of the sell pressure. Sometimes the tokens are made up of like the Spark token is in a lot of the ETFs. Additionally, the other token, SDI, the ETH, pretty much all the tokens in the ETF are held within they're held within Sparkswap. So every time it's printing minting out profit, um, that's more fees generated for the protocol, which ultimately then go back to the sparkler. Um,
100%.
so yeah,
Yeah, no, that's a great high level overview. Again, I mean the whole deal with DEXs is they live and die by the volume, and if we can put in different mechanisms to increase the volume, that's a win-win for everybody because like Jake says, more swap fees. With our ecosystem, the majority of the swap fees go right into Sparkler, and they also go to buy Spark and PLS to create that LP, which will always put buying pressure on Spark. Even with rewards compounding, we hope that the additional volume will outweigh any selling pressure by a pretty substantial amount. And we've already seen it. I mean, we've launched the vaults about 4 hours ago, not even, and we've already seen the volume start to tick up. Well over $1 million now in today's volume. So I think we could easily see, 2.5 million dollars of volume a day, just from these vaults being implemented. So, all right, I guess, yeah. Or go ahead, Jake. Was there any more to that?
yeah. I was just
Yeah,
gonna say, I mean, just on while we're here discussing benefits of the vaults to the Spark
for sure.
ecosystem, obviously, the profit taking and the volume is one thing. That's just on the profit taking side. Once we start getting into some of the actual vault stuff, I'll show you guys some of the transactions. Just a single vault transaction or like a harvest transaction, let's say, the sheer amount of volume in trading fees that are going to come out of just a simple harvest are just astronomical. Wait till I show you some of these transactions.
Yeah,
Um,
no doubt.
but
Stay tuned, right? That's a spoiler.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go
but
ahead.
not only just that, like just the ability, to the ease of use, right? Or to have multiple farms in the same vault, right? Like there's a lot of users that might just not want to jump in because they don't have the patience or whatever to get in, right? Or maybe they're scared because they see this high APR and it's too risky for them to be in that a single Spark pool, right? But what happens now is with the vaults, you could pair up, if you want to be super risk averse, you could pair up like 20% Spark LP with a couple blue chips, right? And just zap in with a single click, right? So all the hard work is done for you. Your risk is super minimized by the fact that some of the volatile assets are you're not heavily as weighted as the blue chips, which everyone is in this business to get, right? But also, even furthermore, like assuming you have like a PLS ETH pair and a Spark swap pair in the same vault, what's going to happen is even if Sparkswap continue, or go, ends up taking a downturn, the way the vaults work is it's going to pile those rewards from the ETH pair earnings, and it's going to keep buying that Spark to lift that price back up. So it just creates a much more stable floor, and redirects the profit into where it's needed the most.
Yeah, no doubt, brother. I love it. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we can show people the visuals. But again, remember, these vaults are not only are they auto compounding, but they're also a balancer style multi-asset pool. So that, like Jake said, when one goes down and the other goes up, you're essentially DCAing or buying the bottom with the asset that goes down, and then selling the top with an asset that goes up. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, but based on some historical data, because of that rebalancing and the auto compounding, we're able to beat like a traditional auto compounder by at least like 10%, right? On average?
Yeah, actually, we when we launched our V2 vaults, so these are we're on V3 right now for clarification. So these are even more powerful, more efficient, right? But on our V2 vaults, shout out to some of the guys on our team did an amazing job. We went through like a dozen, at least a dozen or so pairs at the time, during the last bull run, and we were actually able to backdate all the data, just pages and pages of spreadsheets, and then we were able to put that on a chart and show, how would your assets be, as just a hodl position, how would they be if you put them in beefy, and then compared to our vaults. And I think like on average it was about 7.5%. You'd make 7.5% more money if you had them in our vaults versus beefy or just holding.
For
Um,
sure. Awesome, man. Super bullish. So, all right, then let's get into the meat and potatoes. Obviously, we are working on integrating again some more alpha for all of you. We are going to be doing a full redesign of the website. So again, it'll still be Sparkswap. We'll still have our logo. It's not a rebrand, but we are giving the website a complete facelift. But we've been developing so fast that it doesn't make sense to do that until we have all the puzzle pieces, on the table. So it is just going to be a link for now. But as you can see, we've updated on that left-hand side. It now says Vault. So that's how you'll be able to get over to the Vault. So Jake, anything else you want to mention before we jump into the vaults themselves?
no, I think that's a good place to start. Maybe we just start from the very beginning. I was thinking I got a farm here loaded up. I was thinking maybe we just kind of go through the whole process, just real
Yeah,
quickly, just walk people through what it would take to get from a farm to a vault.
for sure, brother. All right, I'll let you take it away. And yeah, we're drawing from here. One thing, too, I just want to mention before you get started. I know this was a major question a lot of people have been asking. The emissions do not get affected between the vaults and the farms. So again, the vaults are essentially the exact same thing as a farm, just with the auto compounding. So if there's new users that go into the farms, then obviously, yes, that might lower the APR because there's more mouths to feed, so to speak. But it doesn't dramatically affect the APR whatsoever as far as the emissions go. And honestly, the auto vaults are actually more powerful in terms of APR, which we'll see, when we get over there, because of that auto compounding. Remember, auto compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, that compound interest. So yeah, all right, I'll let you go ahead and take it away, Jake, and I'll just chime in from time to time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I can actually clarify that in some detail once we get to that point. But yeah, you're
Perfect.
absolutely right. Basically, you can think of the vaults as like just a liquidity butler. Like it's not a separate farm. We're not taking emissions from anywhere else. You're literally just withdrawing from the current farms, and you're just putting them basically through the vaults to allow the vaults to manage your position for you. Um,
100%.
I made a couple of these tester LPs. I got one staked, right? So, if you're in the farms, and I guess worth noting that, you know, uh, we did a couple of boosted vaults because there are still some fees on these on some of the farms. Obviously, the Spark most of the Spark farms. In fact, the majority of the farms that people are really using on the vaults don't have a fee. Um, and like I said, we boosted a couple of the ones that do have fees right now to kind of compensate for that, right? But just be aware of that, right? And again, all you got to do is, first step, just withdraw from the vaults, I'm sorry, from the farms that you're in already. And this is gonna go. You guys are gonna be. It sounds complex, right? But it's gonna be surprised how quickly this goes, right? So, okay, so I'm out of the farm now. You would just go this link on the side is the vaults, right? Um, and I actually have this open right here. Oops, let's switch it up then, just for reference. This is gonna open up to basically this set of curated vaults, right? AJ and the team kind of went through and kind of handcrafted not only vaults that people are going to be good for the people and that are most active, but also pretty much all these are good for the protocol. Really, really hard to pick one that's not that's not going to benefit the protocol at this point. So basically, what you want to do is just depending on what farms you're in, right? So, I was just in this Spark PLS. I think I had some Spark DAI at that point. So just basically just go find which vault you want to use, right? So, let's say I want to do the Spark. Let's pick a different one actually. How about let's say I want to go to the Spark stable. It's got 50% DAI SDAI Spark and 50% SDAI DAI, right? Real simple. You just open it up, and then from here, there's actually two ways to get in, right? You can connect the wallet. You can also too. Rabby is very nice, and again, you guys have a promotion going on right now, but Rabby is super nice for the vaults because you'll find if you're on the wrong chain, you just click it, it switches it over, that kind of thing, right?
For sure.
But again,
Yeah. And if you haven't,
yeah,
sorry to
you want to
interrupt you
plug the
real
wallet?
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah,
But
do it.
no, yeah. So we have an affiliate link, obviously, but even outside of that, just Rabby is a superior wallet. I mean, a lot of you, especially today, it never fails, man. I'd like to think it's us. But like every time we launch a new product or a new, initiative here, the gas price on Pulse goes bananas. So again, Rabby is great to it'll automatically adjust to the higher gas fee, and you can actually set it higher. Just like you can do to a MetaMask, but overall, like you said, the RPC is automatically switching from chain to chain. Rabby is just a superior product. So if you guys are having issues, with stuck transactions or zapping in, I highly recommend using Rabby for sure.
Yeah, well, I guess to further that, like I said, I would agree with you in general, but especially on things like you'll see if we depending on how far into the rabbit hole we get, on some of the more advanced apps that have multi-chain selection, I mean, even something like Uniswap or something where you're moving around chains, rather than like having the MetaMask window pop up and you have to actually physically change it, right? Like, if you're on a different network, like I said, you just switch and it just boom, switched for you, you know.
For sure.
So okay, back to our deposit here, right? So again, there's two ways to get in, right? You can zap in with a number of different assets, right? Any one of the Sparkswap, main pairs are pretty much in there. Um, and you just decide how much you want to jump in with. That works for me. Note the price impact down here, right? Um, we actually use a custom universal routing system. Again, that all goes through Sparkswap. For all the Pulse, anything that Sparkswap has, we're automatically going to Sparkswap, which is super bullish for the ecosystem and the trading fees and stuff like that. But just be aware, like, if a pair has smaller, less liquidity, you'll get a warning here. And in fact, you'll actually get up to like, I think 3%. It's about green, and then it'll turn yellow. And anything over like 5%, you'll have to like confirm the transaction. So just be mindful of that, right? But again, if you're just depositing and everything looks green, um, pretty simple. You just zap in here. And again, this will take a second to push through. You can always gas it up. I noticed some people having some issues with gas today. Again, if that's just a tip, you can always just gas it up. Looks like that one went through anyway. And boom. So I just made my deposit here. In fact, maybe now is a good time to show you. So basically, what I did is I just put a dollar in with PLS, and this loads up. I can show you what it did. There it is. So you'll notice basically what it did is it needs to come. You need to get equal portions of SDI and SDI Spark, right? So basically what it did here is I just zapped in my dollar of PLS, right? And then it came down here and it did all of this for me. This is what you would normally have to do by hand, right? So it's it's buying all the individual assets here. It's buying Spark. Um, it's minting previous token, like minting the take profit tokens from before, right? So it's doing all these things. It's, I mean, and I'm still going here. So here's minting more of the profits because it has to recalculate. And then it's creating the Sparkswap LPs, right? And then it's going to deposit these LPs. It's going to give you these vault tokens back, right? So all these is that $1 transaction. If you were trying to get into this same position, just on the front end, you'd have to go do, maybe not quite that much, but you'd have to go buy all these tokens, create the LPs, deposit them. So this just does it all for you in one fell swoop, which is really nice.
Yeah, no doubt,
Um,
super bullish. And again, every single one of those transactions is more volume for us as a DEX.
exactly, and that happens on every harvest, right? Um, so let me just show you that one other way, right? So again, that's if you're coming in new, you got fresh money, or maybe you had some leftover you want to put in. Um, in our example from before, when you're withdrawing, right? So let's say you just withdrew from, um, let's say you just withdrew from the farms on Spark, and you have both these assets, right? So you need to have both these assets in your wallet, right? When you're doing this, but you just come over here to this asset deposit, and what this is going to let you do. Um, there actually will be some approve buttons here you might have to get through first, just to make sure to allow the vaults to deposit the assets for you. Um, but you'll see, even if you can put up to 10 farms in a vault, right? So even if there's 10 farms, 10 assets in this that are going in this vault, as long as you have them all in your wallet, you can just directly asset deposit all of them into the vault. And again, this is back to the original question. Um, this basically, it's not like breaking the LPs. You're not losing a single LP token. It's literally just depositing them all into the right proportions for you, back right into the farms where you came from. Um, so you can kind of go here. Oh, I do have the so again, you have to approve if you haven't interacted before. We'll just approve these LPs. And if you are using Rabby, also another good plug. They do warn you for various things. These contracts for the vaults are pretty new, which is why it's throwing a warning at me. But we're just going to allow those to get through. Maybe try to speed this one up. Maybe a refresh to kick it in gear. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you'll notice as I move the slider, right, it's going to change the deposit amounts, right? And you'll notice here, so for reference, right, this vault originally was created with a 50, these numbers in blue, right? This was originally created with a 50-50 split, right? So 50% like dollar value, let's say, right? And 50% in SDI and 50% dollar value in SDI Spark, right? But you'll notice these green numbers on the side, right? So what's happening right now is Spark is pumping. The Spark token is pumping, right? Because the SDI is always going to stay at $1, right? So basically, because Spark is pumping, right, this means that your allocation, that what's actually in the vault, you have a little bit more value in the Spark SDI pools, right? So if you go down here, you're going to see these same numbers. So you always have to deposit in the current value, in the current allocations. But again, the goal of these vaults in general is it's always going to try to get back to these original 50-50 allocations, right? So, again, right now, Spark is up, right? So it's going to take all of the emissions, um, are weighted anyway, and it's going to buy more SDI to keep that ratio, right? Um, So essentially, it doesn't again it doesn't sell ever sell the LPs, right? But it's going to take just the emissions, the rewards, and buy more SDI, right? Because basically locking in your gains in the stable tokens in this case, right? But so back to our number here again, you don't have to do all of it, right? It will at some point max you out, right? Because there's a good chance, yeah. So in this case, I happen to have a little bit more SDI than I do of SDI Spark, right? So you can, again, just play around with your numbers there. And again, real quickly, just send the transaction through. That's quick today. Tonight, anyway. All right. So now you'll see I just deposited $21 in LPs. That's nice. Oops. And now I can go either find another vault. If you wind up having extras, you can decide if you want to break them, put them in another vault, etc. But that's the general idea for depositing. So like honestly, you're done now. Basically, at this point, you can just kind of sit back and relax. And I guess maybe I can quickly go over some of these, just the KPI stuff that you're seeing here.
For sure.
So here's the name of the vault real easily. This one happens to be boosted, right? So original APY is going to be 152, but it's paying out almost double, more than double on that, right? Daily APR, that's without compounding. And in fact, actually, this was another new advancement. We noticed that a lot of the like vault providers, even like exchanges, they don't calculate like gas costs or slippage or anything like that, right? So we took it upon ourselves to actually give you this is the gross APY, and this is actually going to be your net APY, right? So we're including all the swap fees and harvest and everything like that. We'll give you your actual net APY after that.
Killer. I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so just to give you a kind of an idea, right? So again, these are your two pair. This vault has two pairs in it, 50-50, right? Which is now 49.51 and should get back to even, right? This vault also has a 50% take profit, right? So what this means, and this take profit is in the Spark ETF, right? Now the Spark ETF is made up of 34% Spark token, 33% SDI token, and this little UI bug looks like will get fixed tomorrow, but another 33% of wrapped ETH, right? So to give you an idea how this works, right? You can see at the bottom is the detail view, right? This is like a quick view up here. You want to see, your harvest, your profit, right? But basically, you'll notice the harvest right here will just continue to click up. This is basically all of your pending rewards that are coming into this vault, right? And then what happens is, as soon as it becomes profitable, the vault harvests itself, right? And let's say, just for round numbers, let's say there's $10 in pending funds here, right? Because this vault has a 50% take profit, basically what it's going to do is it's going to take the $10, right? It's going to put half of that, 50%. It's going to take half of that and put them back into the LPs, weighted at a little more in SDI because it wants to get back to the original allocations at 50-50. And then what it's going to do, it's going to take the other $5, right? And it's going to mint these Spark ETF tokens, which contain these assets inside. Oh, look at that. And basically you'll be able to see your minted profit, right? Once you start, once it's been in there, you're making money. You'll actually be able to see this value go up, right? And then anytime you'd like, you can just come over here. You take profit. This is like basically just a claim. You're basically just claiming your profit. And I will walk you through how to kind of either cash out your ETFs or do some other things with them in a minute if we're ready, I guess.
Yeah, no doubt. We can move over to that. And then, too, I see, again, please keep the questions coming. We'll get to them at the end. One thing I just did want to touch on real quick, you were talking about boosted vaults. Again, those top two are boosted vaults. The reason, so twofold. Those are not permanent. Again, they could be a week, they could be a month. We don't advertise how long the boost happens. But we did that again because those vaults actually incur a exit fee on the farm. So we're trying to do everything we can to make it fair for those that want to move over, and just provide some juicy APY for those that maybe new and want to get in. And one of the really cool things about those boosted vaults is they actually don't require us to edit the emissions. So it's a separate pool that we fund as a team that will give you those boosted rewards. And it's in PLS, it's not in Spark. So again, no additional selling pressure on Spark. Right, right, Jake? I
Yeah,
don't know if you want to add to that, but yeah, okay.
yeah. In fact, honestly, quite the opposite. Like you said, the boost contracts are filled with PLS, right? So basically, what happens is um, every time that these two boosted vaults get harvested, we just inject a little bit more PLS into the harvest, right? So it's actually is literally creating buy pressure. We're just pumping PLS into the harvest,
For
right?
sure.
It's buying more of those assets, you know.
Yeah, no
Um,
doubt. So, all right, yeah, let's jump into ETFs. Again, this is super bullish, but yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I guess while we're here, let me I
Okay,
just noticing a couple things. Maybe just walk through a couple other things here.
for sure.
Just
Can you
yeah.
can you walk through while you had that original page open? You didn't go over just that tab where it says at deposit now yield P&L. Maybe go over those and the
Yeah,
significance of
yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry. Let's jump back in. In fact, I think I may have had um right something like this. Let me I think I had one of these on this account. I had one of these farms here earlier, which I just threw, I think, as a tester, but I might be able to get a better idea with some of the previous data. Give me one second. I'm just depositing this one. You know what? Also, too, another benefit, which I was actually going to maybe go through anyway. Something like this, right? So this is actually the top three APRs, APYs on PulseX, right? So, for example, if as a community, if you guys want to, ape into something like this, right? So this is basically all blue chips, right? Right? PLS DAI, USDC PLS, SDT PLS, right? So blue chips paying out 125%, right? And of course, we're not like encouraging to sell your Spark stuff for it, right? But if you're in these farms already and you're also farming in Spark, right, you want to help the ecosystem out. Um, this one has a 75% take profit in the Spark ETF, right? So, you know, let's say one of these PulseX farm, vaults up to, 100,000 TVL, some significant numbers. What's going to happen here is basically this whole vault is earning ink tokens, right? And again, the same process happens, right? Every harvest, it's gonna collect all this ink, right? And then it's gonna go put 25% back in the LPs, and the other 75% is gonna go buy Spark tokens, right? Um,
For sure.
that's
Yeah,
super
no,
bullish.
that was great. A great overview. Again, the reason not only are we compatible with PulseX farms, I mean, that's bullish for Pulse overall, but this particular vault is actually really bullish for Spark. And it's the same sort of concept that we do internally with the rehypothecation, where we take those LPs, we farm on PulseX, and then we take the ink rewards to support Spark and the Sparkler payouts. So you can essentially do that on your own. It mints the profit into the Spark Maxi ETF, and then that gives you literal Spark tokens that you can then put in the sparkler or pair up and farm elsewhere. So and this is a great onboarding tool because there's a lot of people that may not know about Spark, or maybe they're not as bullish on Spark as we are. They can get into this pool or this vault rather, and earn, and support our ecosystem without even knowing about it. So again, there's some really great synergies that are between the different vaults.
Yeah, of course. And LA, I'm glad you stopped us there because I think we did kind of glaze over a lot of the other features here. I'll just go through one by one, right? So we kind of went over the deposits, right? Zap in with a single token, asset deposit with multiple tokens. There's also with plenty of withdrawal options. You can do the same thing. You can zap out to a number of different tokens. You can also asset withdraw, like, for some reason the vaults aren't for you. You just withdraw your LPs. You put them right back in the vault if you want. No worse to wear. And there's actually even an emergency feature. We don't expect anything especially on Pulse, but like, down the road, let's say we add some kind of meme coin on PulseX that we have no control over. Let's say there's something happens on that one farm specifically, but hey, you still have all these other assets that are still good value. You can just emergency withdraw, just get everything out at once. Break glass if needed, kind of thing. The performance metrics are something you'll probably use a lot, right? So you'll see before you jump in a vault, you'll see this is on a total, right? So this is basically just going to give you a running total of all the TV for the whole vault, right? So part of what makes the vault special as well is, and again, we can kind of go over this too if we have time, but these vaults are kind of curated for Spark, but we do encourage community creation, right? So basically anyone can go create a vault, pick whatever assets, whatever allocations, whatever profit, whatever percentage profit, right? Infinite amount of options, right? And we do that, well, one, because it's nice to customize your own portfolio, but also what happens is you're actually sharing in the expenses of running a vault, right? I mean, we were joking earlier, like this one down here, all you need is $75 in this vault. If you were to go create this vault right now yourself, and you put $75 in, this will compound once per day with $75 in it, right? And that's because the gas fees are really cheap, obviously, and the APRs are really good, right? But maybe on some of the lower the farms with let's say less APR, it might take a little bit longer, right? And again, you can share in the vault, right? You can publish your own vaults in order to share in those expenses, right? Because the more people are in, if it costs $1 to compound every time, which it doesn't, it's cheaper on Pulse, but assuming it costs $1, right? If you get 100 people in that vault, they each pay a penny, and not one person paying $1, right? Makes it better for everyone, right? And I guess I say that mostly just so that you guys can understand why a lot of these tools are broken out into like total and personal, right? Because like I said, this one I just deposited 1 cent in this vault, but actually maybe it was a little more than that. I just deposited a cent in this vault. No, it was a cent. There it is. But other people might have. This one has $5 in it, right? So I'm not the only person in this, right? So there's other people that are in this and sharing in the expenses and harvesting all that. Again, back to point. You'll see the total for the whole vault, right? And then you can always switch to your personal, right? So the personal performance, right? I mean, again, I only put a penny in. This is my at deposit. It's still worth a penny, right? So not much has changed here, right? And then their yield is basically going to be your profit, right? How much is the vault minted in profit for you, right? This number down here, basically it's a cumulative total, right? So even if you claim your profit, it'll still tabulate up here, right? So you know where you're at all times. And then your P&L is going to be your total up or down, basically. So you know how much you put in the vault when you started. What's the current value of the vault, how much profit you made during the time, and then how much you're up or down, right? One note is sometimes if you're just going into a vault, or maybe just left a vault, or withdrew a part of a vault. Basically, the way this works is we have a massive amount of like indexers. Basically, they're just constantly scraping, crawling over the website and like re-indexing the on-chain data, right? So there may be cases where you just deposit and this might not look right to you right away. Just a few minutes. Next time at harvest, or once the indexer catches up, it'll correct itself for you. Also, too, these tooltips are your friends, right? You'll notice we have these tooltips everywhere, and we really don't, because there's a lot going on, and sometimes you might not know everything. Use the tooltips. They pretty much cover everything that you don't have that you have questions for. Okay, and then moving down, similar story here, right? Like if you go to the total here, this is going to be the total for the whole vault, right? It's to show you how many rewards has come for the whole vault, the token balances, the LP balances, and the value of those balances, right, for the whole vault. And then you can come in to your personal, how much personally do you have in each one of these? Again, I only have like a cent, so it's going to say less than a cent for each one of these, right? 1 cent total. But you'll be able to get an idea of, what's in the pending rewards. How you'll be able to track your LP balance. Is my LP balance going up? Which, of course, the balance, the LP number itself will always go up. Value, of course, could go up or down, right? And then there's also history, right? You can see, like this was my 11-cent deposit from earlier. I withdrew that 11 cents, and I also put 1 cent back in. Same thing here. There's a total, right? So you'll actually be able to see if other people join the vault, right? And then last thing down here is, again, the harvest settings and the just general info. Like I said, maybe I can go over some of this stuff if we have time. This is like the owner of the vault will actually, when the vault is created and published, the owner will be able to go and like give a description and a name. And in fact, you'll see actually the owner of the vault actually receives 1% of the total take profit as well. Again, we try to incentivize community creation. It also helps to spread the word for marketing, right? You'll notice a little share link here. You can just copy it and paste it, on DeBank or Twitter, wherever else you're at. And then again here, your harvest settings, again, pretty self-explanatory, but it'll give you when the last harvest was, when the next expected harvest is. And again, these are estimates. Don't hold us to it by the minute, but for the most part, they're pretty close. Like I said, this will give you an estimated daily balance in order to reach the daily harvest. And I guess to give you a little bit of background on how that works as well, again, our indexers crawl over all the vaults every hour, right? And they check every single vault every single hour. And if it's profitable to do so, it's going to harvest it for you, right? In fact, you'll actually notice, like here right now, actually. So right now you'll see it's filling gas. You get a little filling gas label here. What happens is after the harvest takes place, right? The contracts basically need to fill up the gas that was used from the previous harvest, right? So it's always kind of filling the gas in the rears. Obviously this vault has like no money in it right now, so most of the time you won't see this for very long on most of the standard vaults, especially with higher TVL or more participants, right? Because everyone's kind of sharing in it. And basically what it's doing is it's just taking after every harvest, it's taking go back to positions. It's taking the first rewards here to like just basically fill the gas tank for the next harvest, right? It's kind of painted in the rear. But again, you'll notice and after each harvest, if it's profitable to do so and there's money in the tank, then it'll go ahead and harvest it. Again, if you have a position, you'll get your ETFs. Your LP balances will go up, and so on and so forth. There's two other ways that the vault can harvest. One is just a manual harvest, right? Like I can go ahead and harvest this right now. For some reason, I wanted to. Like that was 3 cents in gas for this entire harvest, which is crazy. In fact, that's why we left BNB. Some of the harvests on BNB were astronomical comparatively. But again, you can always manual harvest, and they also harvest. They also compound and harvest on every deposit withdraw. So, again, most of these should be compounding at least 24 hours a day. Probably much more for popular ones.
Killer. Yeah, and I know they're in the higher TVL vaults. I think the maximum, again, not including deposit withdrawals, but it's about once an hour, right? Or even more than that now.
Yeah, I mean, again, like this one is this one's estimated daily is at $44, right? So if there was only $44 in this entire vault, it would compound once per day, right? But it doesn't. It has 73,000 in it, right? So this one's 100% compounding every hour at the bare minimum.
For sure.
And then again, anytime someone deposits or withdraws, so this on the hour, right? So it's 6:50 right now. The last one compounded 20 minutes ago, right? Because somebody probably deposited, and harvested it for everyone basically.
Perfect. All right, and then one more thing at the top right there. The TVL, that
Mhm.
was the only thing we didn't go over. The total TVL and then the TVL of the vault, in the Aqua UI right in the middle. Can you just explain that real quick? Yep,
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
so
Yeah.
so basically, you'll see this all of them. The TVL, this is going to be the combined, essentially the liquidity, right? So between this SDI and this SDI Spark, there's 1.5 million in that farm, in those two farms, I should say. And then the 72 is what's actually in this vault specifically, right? So again, this because it's not a different pool, it's just the same. You were just depositing redepositing in that same pool. Essentially, this 72K is part of this 1.5.
Perfect. And yeah, as a community, the goal is to get that number in the vault as high, as close to that maximum TVL as possible, because
Right.
that means the capital is working for us for sure. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, these are already really great numbers. Like it's obviously going to be a little fragmented because something like this pool here. Um, is this Spark PLS is also going to be in this one too, right? So you got 70K in this classic vault, right? And again, we can kind of go over this too. Basically, like something like this is like a standard, like a beefy vault, right? If the vault creator just selects zero profit, just automatically creates a regular vault. And again, that can be kind of fragmented. One more thing here too. I'm here. Again, like I said, the tooltips are your friends. You will notice, boosted vaults and different kinds of different kind of helper tips, right? But this is a great one too. I use this one specifically all the time. So on every single one of these farms, you'll see the tooltip, and you can get this will take you right to the DeBank info, just to verify how much liquidity is in there.
Killer.
So I'm getting a phone call. So you can go right to verify on the bank, right? You can also you go to the DexScreener. It'll pull up the chart for you, right? Super helpful if if you're that's a nice looking chart.
I was gonna say,
Um,
red on cue, red on cue.
yeah,
Look at that volume spike. Oh my God, man!
yeah,
Again, that's the proof in the pudding. That giant green candle at the bottom is the volume.
so this
So
one's the
yeah, right
volume, yeah.
there. So again, man, proof is in the pudding.
But yeah, like I said, it's just super helpful, especially if 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 you're just in the vault now, obviously we want you to keep coming back to Spark and checking it out. But you might not have the same tools, if you're just in these vaults, right? So just real easy fingertip way to just get the charts, get the LP info, that kind of thing.
Amazing. Perfect, brother. And yeah, I think we do have time. And then LA, if you want to start, getting together all the questions, do you want to show them real quick how to create a vault, Jake? I mean, I think again, not only is this so powerful, but literally anybody can curate their own vault to whatever their needs might be. It's just so amazing.
Yeah, so we can do that real quick. So just to give you a little heads up, this page you're looking at right now. Again, these are the curated vaults that we kind of put together for you. And actually, within the next probably 24 hours or so, we're actually going to kind of build this page up, give it a little more Spark branding until we get over to the native Spark UI, and we'll add all these additional kind of features that I'll go over now with you, right? But in the meantime, if you wanted to get there, over to the kind of the full system, you can just click on the link, the vault link up top here, and then just click on the little pulse icon. This will actually give you basically all the curated vaults plus all the community created vaults, right? Looks like you guys have been busy.
Yeah,
Wow.
already. I was just gonna say,
Just
let me call it out. The already over $350,000 of TVL in the first few hours. You can see that number at the very, very top too. It'll show you, yeah,
yeah.
TVL for all the pulse vaults. But yeah, they've been going to town, Jake. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, again, this is like I said, this little top bar is one of the things we're going to try to get into the the Spark landing page too tomorrow. Just some really helpful tools. Let me just go over real quickly. You can toggle small TVLs, right? So if you're only looking for vaults with like over $1,000 in them, you can toggle them. You can actually switch the view here. If you prefer the cards instead of the panels here. User preference, right? And then, excuse me, one of the things that you'll find really helpful, I'm sure, is these two right here, right? So my vaults and my profit, right? So, what happens is you'll have fun with it. You start getting, start depositing in different vaults. And, if you're on the previous page, you might just lose. I mean, you'll see it in the view, in the list view, but this is just a real easy way. Once you're in the vaults, you'll be able to see, okay, these are the actual ones that I'm invested in, right? And you can even sort them, even on the all vaults, right? You'll be able to sort them by APY, TVL, daily, that kind of stuff, right? And then again, another important one is the profit one. So as you're accumulating profit, right? I do have some profit here. So this vault, this will tell you where it came from, right? So this is from the Spark stable vault, right? I only have $20. Oh, look at that. I did this. This was the one we did. I did it right when we started, right? So I put $20 in this vault. When we started this call, I already have a penny. Not a ton, but I have a penny in there. And
Every little bit counts. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But again, this is another tool because like if I'm in this, like I said, you'll be able to see your profits start building up here. But you might not want to go in every time and like claim the profit, right? So if you're in multiple vaults, totally fine. All you got to do is just come here and you can actually just claim if you have 10 vaults, it'll show you all your profit on all 10 vaults. And you can literally just with one single transaction. Man, that didn't even give me a dollar value on the gas. It was 0.000. Um, awesome. But it'll let you claim all your profits with one single transaction.
And really quick, Jake, while we're on this topic, again, I know we want to show everybody how to create their own, but can you just show them how to burn the ETF too? We
Yeah,
never
exactly.
really
Yeah.
went over that, so yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I just claimed this one little bit of profit I had, right there it goes. And this should go away, right? So now it's not going to show me any profit here, right? Then all you got to do is just come over to this ETFs section here. And again, This is going to show you the total TVL, right? For all the ETFs, right? So, I mean, look at that. Just in a couple hours, the hour or so since we've been live, it's already minted $120 in profit for everybody, right? Out of additional mints for the Spark ecosystem. And then you can also go to my ETFs again. So real simple. I just claim my profit. I go to my ETFs here. And then once you go into the fund, right, this is going to show you like a breakdown of what it is, right? You can copy it. You can add it right to your wallet. It's going to show you the breakdowns of what's in it, right? So again, 34% Spark, 33% SDI, another 33% ETH, right? And you can also mint too, right? If you wanted to, you could just take your PLS and mint these. The ETFs, I'm not sure if we explained the ETFs fully, but
Yeah,
again,
no, go ahead and go
non-custodial.
over that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
And
yeah, they're
minting directly into them, that could be another option because of the rebalancing. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So the way the ETFs work, again, non-custodial. We don't have, no one has control. They're all on the contracts, and they have a similar kind of balancing formula, right? Where you'll notice these have like these are actually dead on because there's so much compounding, um, so much minting happening. But you'll notice like 34 is the starting allocation, 34 is the current allocation, right? So, again, if if ETH spikes super hard, right, and maybe Spark has a down day, every time somebody mints or burns a token, it's going to balance those out again, right? It's going to sell. It's going to sell. This one is going to sell the ETH. I'm going to buy the Spark, right? Because it's in the ETFs, right? And again, to reiterate, the vaults don't never sell your core position. The ETFs do actually always buy and sell to balance, right? But by doing so, what happens is this forced appreciation, right? Because basically you're selling the highs and buying the dips every time someone else mints for you. Um, and by doing so, you're always accumulating more tokens within that ETF. Um, so we actually talked about a little alpha. We talked about maybe even doing some farms for the ETF specifically, right? So if something like that came around, you could for sure just come here and mint. Um, you know, if you just want to, we're also going to be adding a bunch more ETFs. So again, just a good way to basically hodl better than really hodling. And again,
100%.
super simple. You can pick an asset, zap in a mint, right? Or, if you're like me, you want to cash out on your 1 cent of profit. Two ways. You have to approve first, of course, always. And so this is the single asset burn, right? You can just pick let's say I want to burn right to Spark. I might have to approve that again now. But let's say you pick whatever asset you want to burn to. Once Pulse catches up to us, that's a mint. So I just approve now. It's gonna say, okay, I'm gonna get 0.5 PLS, right? And you can burn it. Real simple. It'll just go right in your wallet as PLS, right? Or another cool feature is the multi-asset burn, right? So for some of the Spark maxis out here, for example, right? Kind of similar to your process with the Sparkler, where you're getting rewarded in Spark PLS LP, right? Kind of same thing here, right? So in this one, let's say you're getting a third of each of these tokens, right? And I don't know, maybe say you want to bridge your SDI back to do it on a different chain. Your ETH, you're an ETH bro. You want to hodl that, and you want to keep hanging on to that. And then the Spark, you want to put that in the Sparkler. You want to put that back in the Sparkler. Super simple. All you got to do is again approve it. You can burn it, and then get these specific allocations. If you had $9 in there, you get $3 in Spark, $3 in SDI, $3 ETH right in your wallet.
Killer. Yeah, so again, there's an option for everybody. And, like you said, our infinite money generator, again, the tongue-in-cheek diagram that we promote, where you can utilize your farm rewards into Sparkler and continually feed that. It's all still possible. Again, there's even more of a flywheel now with these vaults, and Jake dropped a little alpha there. We are looking into even boosting or having other single asset farms for the ETFs alone. And that could also, lock up a ton of Spark, even outside of Sparkler. So yeah, super bullish.
Yeah, also just to clarify too, with both the ETFs and the vaults, right? What happens is you're basically your funds are held in the contract, right? And you're getting like a receipt token, right? So like if you add this token to your wallet, right? It's gonna just like any other ERC20 token, it's gonna give it a name and a symbol, right? Here's the contract address. You can look it up. You can see the balances of all the tokens inside, right? All above board. But this basically acts as your receipt token for these underlying assets, right? Just like the vaults, you'll get a token. It's called a VT, a vault token. And basically that represents your share of the total TVL within that vault, right? Which allows you to claim the profit, your portion of the profit, allows you to withdraw your portion of the TVL, and so on and so forth.
Perfect. All right, awesome, brother. And then I guess let's just go into making a vault of our own, and then LA, like I said, if you have some questions, and if any of you have questions that we did not answer, please feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube live chat.
Yeah, of course. So again, honestly, I mean, it's fun. It gets, feel free to play around with it. A lot of people just like to jump in a curated vault. That's also fine too. And again, like I said, probably by tomorrow even we'll have some more of this UI on the main Sparkswap landing pages, right? Wow,
Yeah,
500K in
I
here
know.
already.
We had a whale. I think we had a whale. That's 200K just from the time that we started this. Holy cow. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple ways to make a vault, right? You'll notice this is dynamic. So there's 31 vaults right now on Pulse. And for those you just scroll here, all vaults, just scroll through. You can go here to this is like the full screen, which we'll get to in a second, create a vault system. But the one I like a lot actually, this is a little side panel here. What this is going to do is it's going to give you all the vaults on Pulse, right? So you'll notice here, Sparkswap. We have some PulseX vaults, right? So it's going to let you can filter by, if you want the biggest liquidity, you want the biggest APRs, right? If you just want Sparkswap, right? You want PulseX, right? You want to clear your filters, right? Pretty dynamic, pick and choose, right? And then all you got to do really is just kind of go through here and say, okay, what do I want in my vault, right? Let's say in this case, I'll do a SDI Spark, right? And maybe I want SDI US Dex, right? So right away, it's going to show you that there's two other similar vaults, right? And again, the reason why we do this is because sometimes you don't want the liquidity fragmented, right? Sometimes it's better to have more into this a single vault, right? So you again with Pulse with the cheap gas on Pulse, it's not as big of a concern, but maybe you just want to join the party, join into somebody else's vault.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
that at
Well,
least
and that's a great point. I just want to cut in real quick here,
yeah.
Jake, because I know everybody, obviously, we want you to create vaults. We want you to experiment. That's part of the fun with all this. But again, to Jake's point, don't just create every single vault known to man, and hope that you're getting, that 1% fee, on the harvest, because like Jake said, it's actually much more powerful if we can consolidate the liquidity into, a vault that is at least similar to what you're trying to create.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But again, this will at least as you're selecting different vaults, right? You will at least be able to see which how many vaults there are, right? Like so, if I just select Spark PLS, there's six vaults. Six people FPLS, just PLS vault, right? So again, you can kind of play around with it, select what you want, right? And then that's the fun part, right? If you let's go back to our whatever, it doesn't really matter for this case. Let's say you don't want to use a vault already, right? You can just go to create a vault. And this screen is basically this is going to give you the same as if you went to that main. Sorry, I probably did that fast. This button up here on the top right. This is going to go to basically the same. This is the same screen that you would to if you use the flyout menu here. But it's just going to save your preferences for you. So I went from the flyout to the main screen, right? And again, it's going to show you, like on this one, it's kind of a little bigger. So it'll actually show you the two other vaults right here. You can join. But again, if you just want to create your own, let's say I want these two farms. You can adjust the allocations. Let's say I like 70% in Spark PLS, and I want a little less in the stable pair. You'll notice when I do this, the allocation has to equal 100%. Otherwise, it won't let you do anything. So you'll notice when I get back to 100%, turns green, button's created, right? And then the next thing you want to do is figure out what you want to take as profit, right? So this is defaulting to the Sparkswap ETF. There's a good handful to choose from. There's an EMP ETF, there's a Spark Maxi ETF, there's a Pulse ETF, or you can take profit in single Spark or US Dex. And again, if you wanted to, view the fund in a little more detail, you can just pop that open. That's going to show you kind of the details of the actual ETF as well before you jump in, before you select it. Right?
And sidebar, real quick again, Jake. Sorry to keep interrupting you, brother, but
no, I love it.
we are planning on adding additional ETFs too. So we'll have an actual SOP or standard operating procedure. So maybe you have a token. Again, we can't allocate emissions to your token and add you to Sparkswap directly, but we may be able to add you as an ETF and have it be something you can promote to your community as well. So again, we're not relisting shit tokens, but it is a way for us to, get proven projects involved in the ecosystem without having to worry about allocating emissions to those tokens. So yeah, and we'll have more info on that. We'll probably have like a Google Doc that you can fill out and get a request for your own ETF. Right, Jake? I don't know. That's your department. I don't know if I said anything wrong. So yeah.
No, 100%. And we'll probably make them put a little bit of Spark in each token as well.
100%. Yes, sir.
In each ETF.
Yes.
So every time it rebalances, I'll keep buying more of that Spark and locking more Spark up.
For sure, brother. All right, cool. So back to what you were saying. I'm sorry. So yeah, select your ETF. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say I want to do the Spark Maxi ETF in this one. We're almost done here. And again, once you get familiar with this process, like you can literally create an entire vault in like a matter of seconds. Again, even if you wanted to add more, like you want to add PulseX farms with Sparkswap farms, right? You can add almost as many as you want, up to 10 right now. Add them up. It'll actually, if you keep adding, it'll just automatically balance out the allocations. And then again, pick your profit token. And then the next step is how much profit do you want to take, right? So again, if you just leave it at 0, it's going to create like essentially just a beefy vault, right? Like that's that's the basic product. It's like a multi-farm beefy vault. But again, once you start adding profit, so like if I want to do 25%, again, that means on every harvest, if you get $100 in profit, that means 25% is going to go to mint your profit. The other 75% is getting it compounded back in, and then works all the way up to 100%, right? But again, totally based on your your investing style. If you want to get your profit out right away, do you want to compound and get your future delay the rewards? Again, up to you. But make your selections, and then again, you're just going to create this this transaction. And basically what this does for you is there's a vault factory basically. So what you're doing is you're telling this vault factory, I want all these assets with these allocations, at this take profit, and at this take profit amount, right? And it's going to actually create this vault for you. Give it a little gas.
We got to see the fancy pop-up when it completes.
There it is. Yeah, little gamification there, right? Basically, so basically what this did is like you basically just created your own vault, right? You as the creator specifically own this contract, right? You can go directly to the vault, right? You'll notice when you first get here, you're going to see your vault with all your crazy tokens inside of it. You're going to see just a vault ID, right? That's because it hasn't been published. This is right now. This is just a private vault. You'll also see that deposits are disabled until you initialize. And basically, all the initialization is it just deposits like the very minimum amount into the contract to kind of kickstart it off. That's what's going to activate like the price impact and all this stuff to make sure that just for some wild reason, maybe liquidity just got pulled from some pool, you're not going to get hit with price impact, that kind of thing, right? And then at the bottom here, again, like this is a good example of, so let me go back up here. So yeah, this is basically just deposited 10 cents into this vault. And again, you'll see it, this vault, now you're getting rewards in both Spark and Ink tokens, right? You're going to do the same thing, gather them all up, put them back in the vault. But down here, you're going to see a publish option, right? So if you just want to deposit funds, right in here, you can go look at went through, right? So if I want to, I could just deposit funds, and like this is just my little private vault. No one sees it. It's not public. Only you'll this will be available to you only in your My Vault section, right? However, like I said, if you want to make public, right? You want to share in the expenses, harvest and stuff like that. You want to, if you have trading groups and things, communities you want to share and say, this is a cool vault I made, jump in with me. All you gotta do is just give it a name, like the name of what do you want the vault called, right? You can give it a publisher name, right? So like, in fact, here's a pro tip. If you type a little @ symbol before it, I forget what your Twitter handle is. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think
So
so.
if you
Yep.
put a little Twitter handle in there, when you use some of the share settings, it will automatically, like when it posts to Twitter, it'll automatically create this link for you, right? And you just give it a description. I'm actually not going to publish this, I don't think, because I don't want to clutter up the. It's like you guys are doing a good enough job without it, but
For sure.
but basically real simple. You just publish it, right? And then at that point, it just goes into this all vault section where anybody can go, just deposit into your vault, and you also get 1% of the take profit amount.
Amazing. All right, LA, do we have questions? I'm gonna go ahead and mute for a second, while you guys go over questions.
So I was actually just gonna quickly repeat some answers to things that I've already answered in text, just so that we have them on voice.
Please.
So a few times today we've been asked if the vaults are going to show up on Rabby. So I just wanted to let you know we have submitted everything to DeBank, so you will see them soon once that gets approved and everything goes through. Jake, last time it took less than 24 hours once we sent it in, correct?
Yeah, they're pretty quick about it. Yeah, Rabby's always a good way to once they get in there, a good way to confirm just confirm your deposits, and also too, I'll recommend as well. In fact, I was going to show this anyway, especially if you're moving from the farms into the vaults. After you've done everything, like depositing, whatever you want to do, I would definitely recommend go to Rabby, because you'll see like, I mean, I obviously didn't really take a ton of time when I was depositing, right? But you'll see I do still have some LP and stuff in here, right? So, um, you know, just because they're showing here doesn't mean they're deposited, right? So clearly I don't have any farms, anything staked in the farms, right? So, um, just double check you're not leaving money on the table, put it back in the farms, add it to a vault, do what you got to do.
For sure. And then we did write this in the pinned announcement. I want to emphasize as well because we have been asked a couple times as well. Do pay attention if you are exiting any of the farms. Make sure details button and get familiar with what fees are associated with withdrawing, because if you are withdrawing from farms, the standard withdraw fees do apply. So just be aware of that, making about what you want to do with the farms.
Perfect. And I'll jump in real quick, LA. Sorry, Jake. One question I saw earlier was the risk profile. Can you talk about that really quick? The risk assessment, how that's calculated, or if it matters. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. To be frank, that was one of the last things on our list. We probably need a little update on those.
For sure.
But we'll get that updated soon. The way we do it is basically each farm gets like a numerical value between 1 and 5. There's like a little scoring chart basically. If they're blue chips, if they're stables, they get higher ranked. And then basically it's a cumulative value of like an average basically, right? So if you have a couple 2s and a couple 3s and 1 5, it's just going to average those out and give you the risk level based on all the total farms in the vault.
Okay, perfect. And again, that risk level, I mean, you don't have to go into the nitty-gritty, but a lot of it has to do with the TVL or the total liquidity rather, in other words, it's not a shit token that would drag the risk down, right? Or up rather. Yeah.
Yeah, shitcoins are ones for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We'll list them, but they're going to be a 1.
No doubt. Cool. All right. Yeah, go ahead, LA. Sorry. That was it. Yeah.
Yep. So we have a couple more. So Jake did go over this, but in case you missed it, you can withdraw at any time from the vaults. There's a couple different options. He went over this. Make sure to go back and watch the replay, but you can either withdraw to a single asset or you can go back and take each LP out. So he did a tutorial on that. You can go back and take a look. But these are not locked, so you can put money in and out whenever you wish to. And then for you guys, we do have a question from Darusik. Can you easily migrate between vaults?
Yeah, actually, boy, you're ahead of us already. In fact, that was one of the features from V2. There's actually a couple that they're coming back out. Again, we just launched this V3 version, which is like super powerful. You can actually mix and match it with like there's a whole ALM, automated liquidity manager that can manage like concentrated liquidity farms. So more recently, we were focusing on some of the bigger ticket items. But yeah, one of the things that we have already built that we will probably get back in, this week or next. When you go into a vault, if you have a position in there, and once we get this feature back in, you'll see another little window here that it's actually a migrate feature. It'll allow you to see any other vault on the platform, any other one of your vaults separated another whole little filtering system. And actually just allows you to just literally with one click, you can pick how much you want to move. It'll send it. You can move all your assets to another vault. In fact, we actually for the Kanto hackathon, we actually built the first cross-chain liquidity migration tool where you can actually migrate. In fact, shit, I didn't even think about this. We when we bring that back, you'll be able to migrate like from a BNB vault over to a Sparkswap vault. using our cross-chain tool. So we'll definitely get that going as well.
Bullish. Again, another
Yeah,
way to potentially bridge over, right? That's crazy. Yeah, that's awesome.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Great question, Teresa. Thank you. One thing I want to, again, sorry, Ella, to keep jumping in here. I know you have more questions, but one thing really quick, Jake, can you just go over the audits? Again, I know people get really, if they don't know us, obviously we're here, building amazing stuff and we have a track record, but even if they don't trust us, you guys have some substantial audits, for sure. So,
Yeah, of course. So we do have we have two major audits. The first one was by Certec. It was for our V2 vaults. And then we also literally just got done with a super intensive audit by Halborn. If you're not familiar with either of these guys, they are top tier. It wasn't not some kind of rinky-dink auditing firms. We went through the ringer with those. You can verify that the audits did in fact take place. This is the Halborn GitHub repository. So you can see these are our V3 audits completed January 5th, so just last month. And actually, we were so proud of this one. This is like maybe our best audit we've ever had. Like just completely passed with flying colors. In fact, the only issue that they wanted us to look at was the number of vaults, because previous to this audit, we allowed technically you were allowed to put like an infinite amount of farms in a single vault, and at some point after 10, it starts becoming less profitable to do so. So that's why we capped it off there. But you can feel free to peruse the audits from both Certec and Halborn. And then in addition, AJ is you all know AJ's face. Our team is half doxed, but we do have an official KYC completed. This is from Solid Proof, another reputable name.
for sure.
So we got
Yeah.
all the certs.
Yeah, we'll show up at your door, Jake. That's okay, right? No,
Yeah. AJ sees me all the time, so
yeah, totally.
he can dox me if anything goes wrong.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That, and again, man, that just shows the caliber that the Dex Finance team has in terms of devs. And remember, I mean, we've said all along, we've essentially merged our teams, and they have been an integral part not only in these vaults, which is their proprietary tech that is now merged with ours, but the bridge, again, all of the bots, the arbitrage bots. I mean, everything that we have built out together is top notch, and we're so honored to be able to work with such incredibly talented devs. So shout out to you and the whole team, Jake.
I've had
Yeah,
the
thank you,
pleasure
man.
of meeting him in person.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. LA
yeah,
has met you in
I appreciate
person.
that.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
he's real and legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm not. I'm a pretty open book. I don't mind getting out there.
Cool. All right. Any
For
other
sure.
questions, LA?
One just popped up. Do we have to enter all pairs into the vault? Hold on. That emoji thing always blocks it. Do we have to enter all pairs into a vault that has multiple LPs in order to make rewards?
So again, the options for vaults are totally infinite, right? If you decide to choose to be in a vault that has, let's say, 3 assets, and you want to use the asset deposit feature, in that case, you would for sure need to have all 3 of those assets like sitting in your wallet in order to deposit. And again, you'll see on this little sliding bar, you will see like how much of each asset's in there. It'll tell you if you have more or less of one or the other, right? So basically it'll only, like, if you have $100 of 2 assets and only $90 of one asset, right? It'll let you max out to the $90 asset, right? And then the other, you'll wind up with $10 in those 2 other assets. In which case, you can either put those back in a farm. You could potentially break the $10 of LPs and then just deposit back into that vault as with PLS or whatever you want. Or you could just go pick another vault and deposit singly. Like I said, what I'd recommend is there's a ton of options out there. So honestly, before you even move out of the farms, I would just like grab a screenshot of your farms and say, okay, I got $50 in here, I got $100 in here, and then that way you'll be able to see the allocations and the percentages, and then just try to find a vault that's as close to your strategy as possible. And again, if you have a fair amount of liquidity on Spark, feel free to just you could literally just take your exact if you have 27% of one farm and 30% of one farm, you can literally just go create your own vault with those exact percentages and just slide to the right and deposit.
Perfect. Yeah, again, it's very customizable. And, if you're a whale or even, I mean, again, we say whale, but the gas fees are so low on Pulse. I mean, if you have $1,000 or more of any LP, you absolutely can make your own private vault. Don't publish it again just to confuse everybody more. If they, sometimes the more options, the worse. But and then have it for yourself and have your own private vault exactly how you want it. And so, again, the customization is just unprecedented, man. I've never ever seen a DeFi protocol or a crypto project, period, that allows you to literally, tailor your investment strategy and create it by hand. So,
Again, also to that point, that's why we do have the radio button for show small TVLs, right? So that usually defaults to being unchecked, right? So, if you have less than $1,000 in a vault, it's probably not going to get seen anyway because we're trying to, encourage. We don't necessarily trying to encourage just this fragmented, vault
for sure.
liquidity. And also too, like if you think you're just going to create like a 1,000 vaults and just hope someone jumps to them, we actually have a clearing system where like if no money in these vaults, they just get wiped out after a couple weeks. So we've been through it, and we've noticed some of the pain points, and we're trying to keep the system as clean as possible.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and again, to that point, the more TVL in a vault, again, actually it may be more profitable because you're able to compound that much faster. You're spreading the gas fees out over multiple wallets instead of just a few. So there is a lot of benefits to consolidating the liquidity. And I get it. Like everybody loves that 1%, but in the grand scheme of things, it's very that 1% really isn't a ton. Especially if you don't have 100K or more in that vault. And just to clarify too, Jake, that 1% is actually 1% of the harvest fees, right? So it's not taking, it's not like a giant commission that comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's not even the fees. It's like the actual take profit. So,
Okay, perfect.
um, yeah. So I mean, like if you're a whale, and honestly, we made it that way to kind of offer some gamification. It does encourage, because we do want people, if you're a decent sized bag holder, we do want to have offer options for people, right? Like that's kind of the beauty of it. And it also like I said, it promotes social sharing. I didn't even go into that, but like on every single vault, there's like social sharing buttons, right? So like if you're in this vault, I'll go to a quick right, um, and you want to just quickly share this, share that you're in this vault, you can just go right to the bottom here, click one of these Facebook or Twitter icons, and it's going to take all that info and just post it right to your socials, right? So that's kind of the whole idea behind it. But again, we want to keep it under control, let's say.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and we all know, when you offer some sort of affiliate commission, the money has to come from somewhere. But it is super powerful. Again, like Jay said, maybe you're an influencer, maybe you have a big community, then
Yeah,
absolutely
exactly.
create a vault of your own, share it and help us get more adoption, and get rewarded for that. So yeah, amazing, bro. All right, I think that
This is
was,
the way.
yeah, bro, that was super, super, Again, we did a long time ago when we had vaults with EMP. I think you guys were still on BSC. Then we did a similar tutorial, but the V3 that you guys have, it's become a long way, even in terms of tech and usability. So this was long overdue, and it applies to any of the vaults. So again, maybe again, encourage you all to explore the other vaults on other chains as well. But obviously, Spark, and Pulse are going to be the number one priority, moving forward. But yeah, man, LA, any other questions?
For sure. This has been such a good tutorial. I originally was going to clip part of it to add to the educational series, but the whole thing's been so good I wouldn't know what to clip. So
For sure.
I'm gonna have to put the whole thing in there. There's one final question. Is there a maximum number of times per day that a vault can compound?
Yeah, so again, like I said, well, not technically a maximum, but at the moment, there's an indexer that runs every hour on the hour, right? So, assuming a vault has enough TVL and there's enough APR to where it becomes profitable to harvest, right? Which the majority of these vaults will. At the very minimum, it'll compound 24 hours a day. But it also, like I said, it also compounds on every deposit and withdrawal, right? So again, this one I have up right now that just happened to be on. So you'll notice that the 26 minutes right here for the next auto harvest. This is projecting that at the hour it's 7:35 where I'm at anyway. In 25 minutes, 26 minutes, it's going to harvest. It's going to for sure harvest, right? But it happened to harvest 18 minutes ago because somebody must have just deposited into the vault 20 minutes ago, right? So you're gonna it's gonna be a ton of harvesting, ton of counting, and to be honest with you, like the reason why we set it at an hourly pace, is because that is like that's the most optimal situation. I mean, again, when somebody deposits in, it's actually using some of their gas money to make that harvest, and also just the complexities of the vaults. With the math, right? Like it can't. It wants to basically clear the ledger so that the new person coming in now can be can get in at the same. The vault has to know how much everyone else has, how much profit everyone has, right? So it's got to kind of clear the state. So it uses their gas to run that harvest. But from a math perspective, like the difference between APY compounding 24 times a day and like 50 times a day is like 0.0001% more, which is why, like I said, we kind of capped it at 24 time marker, because anything more than that, you're actually kind of eating into some of your potential profits.
Perfect. Yeah, and again, no matter what, even at that hourly compound, you're leaps and bounds ahead of what you would be able to do manually. If you're trying to auto compound yourself. That's why these vaults and this technology is so powerful. It's literally the epitome of capital efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And building your bag for sure. Yeah. Cool. All right, I think that was good. LA, any other questions? Yeah.
No, that's it.
Cool. Well, again, Jake, man, thank you for doing a deep dive. Not to give a little more alpha, but we, obviously this is a monumental, product under our belt now. We're actually working on even another monumental product. We won't say what it is yet, but we're going to continue to deliver literally every single day, month, week, year at Sparkswap. And yeah, man, we're just really excited. Please share this, with the community as well. Not only is it extremely, powerful for Spark and SparkSwap, but like I said earlier, even if for whatever reason you're not bullish on Spark or SparkSwap, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, but if you're a PulseX maxi, you can actually utilize those PulseX farms as well. And just remember, we have gotten a few more questions already. The LPs that you can make a vault with, they have to have emissions. So there is no point in creating, an LP pool of some random LP because there is no emissions. That the money has to come from somewhere. So it's only going to recognize PulseX pools that have ink rewards or Spark LP that have Spark rewards. So yeah, again, just to clarify. But yeah, go ahead, Jake. Any final words? Any other info you think we should cover?
Man, that was pretty in depth. We're always around. Whether it's in the Spark Discord or popping a DexFi MP, we're always around. I'll tell you what though, I got to shout out Old Man Crypto over here in the chats. He says we should launch the vault every day because the sparkler is through the roof.
Hell yeah.
If only we could launch vaults every day, I would love
Yeah,
that.
no doubt. OMC, I love it. And yeah, man, that is the proof again in the pudding. Not only are we seeing, we're gaining about 100K an hour on total volume for 24 hours. And yeah, I mean, we see some great payouts in Sparkler. Obviously, a lot of that is from people exiting the farm. So, I don't want people to get an expectation that every day will be like the rewards today. But over time, again, that's the beauty of this. The more volume we have, the more rewards and swap fees we're able to collect over time, then absolutely, we should see payouts in Sparkler get better and better. So if you're sleeping on Sparkler, don't, again, not financial advice, but take your rewards from these vaults. Again, cash out or burn them into Spark token, and then put that Spark token into the sparkler, and you can earn on top of earn for sure. Cool. All right.
And
Yep. Go ahead.
congrats to everyone on a record-breaking day. We're at 1.6 million in daily volume, and who knows what we'll hit before we close our eyes for bed tonight.
I love it, man. TVL on the vault going up 100K at a time. Total volume going up 100K at a time. So let's celebrate today. Again, it's been a ton of hard work behind the scenes. One more time, shout out to Jake and our Jake as well. All the guys behind the scenes. Again, I don't want to dox anybody, but there are literally 20, 25 devs working on all this, and yeah, I mean, we're just getting started, right, Jake?
Yeah, man, it's nice to see the plan all finally coming together, man. It has been some work, but we are in full stride right now.
Yeah, 100%. All right, awesome, guys. Well, we'll wrap it up there. If there is anything we didn't get to, we'll do our regular AMA tomorrow. Again, we do our own AMAs at 6:45 p.m. Eastern on Mondays and Thursdays. But share this video with the Pulse community. And if anybody has questions, I know it was a long one, about an hour and 30 minutes, but you definitely should hear and learn everything you need to learn from this. Oh, and then one more real quick thing. Sorry, Jake. There is a white
Mhm.
paper as well, right? And we're gonna update our own white paper with some of that info too. So
Yeah, if you go to the bottom of the app here, there's some pretty extensive docs. You can go to the vaults, ETFs. In fact, if you're dying through this hour and a half, I'd strongly advise just watching this little video here. We actually spent a lot of time making this is a little 2-minute explainer video. Super hard to get literally all that hour and a half we just discussed down into 2 minutes with with perfect animated graphics. But I would say that's maybe the best place to start, actually.
for sure, awesome. And yeah, we're always available to help more. And those again that are more of that want to read rather than watch a video. The docs have everything that you would need. So all right, killer. Thank you, everybody. Cheers to all of you, and let's keep that volume pumping as we move into later in the week and beyond. So, all right, everybody. Bye bye.
Take care.